What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of On the Card presented by TRHS Sports. It's been a while since I've been on here. I needed to do a little introspection after the last day we had. It was not a good day, but we are back for a better day. If you've been following me on my website, betonphilwood.com, you will know that we have won 7 of our last 8 bets. That's 7-1 in the last 2 days. Our only loss was because Lucas Giolito threw a no-no yesterday. We had the over in the first 5 innings. It's still missed by 2 warning tracks. That's all it missed by, everybody. We were so close on that one. It was 4 runs through 5, all scored by the White Sox, obviously, since Giolito had the no-no. And we had 2 bombs that I thought were going out of the park, and somehow they stayed in. They just got held up in whatever crosswind was going on in Chicago. Otherwise, we would have had 2 perfect days in a row. So I'm back here on the card to try to keep it going. I wanted to come back at some point this week anyway. We're going to have a Patreon coming up soon with TRHS Sports. So I wanted to come on and show my face again before that goes live so that everybody knows that we are still, in fact, doing this. I got 10 bets today, but I want to tell you how I have this broken down. I have it's 10 bets, but I got it broken down into 5 that I really, really like, and then 5 that I'm liking, but I'm not like loving, but it's something to take a look at. So I do have them broken down into the 2 tiers, so you can kind of base it on that based on how you want to actually go about doing your bets today. Like I said, I've won 7 of my last 8. I would keep riding the hot hand. Things do cool off eventually, but I would keep riding the hot hand right now. I was even on, if you read my article yesterday on betonphilwood.com, I had said I love the Clippers over 121.5. They go for 154. I love them to cover 6.5. They win by 30 or 43 or something like that. So I had the right reads yesterday, even on bets I didn't make, even on bets that I was like, I'm only going for 5 today. Here's my 6 and 7. Also loved Paul George going over 23.5. He goes for 35. So the reads have been right. And that was kind of the same thing in the earlier games. The 76ers, the last time I was on here, plus 5.5. They don't do it in the one game, even though they look really good. The next game, they come out and they lose by 4. The Nets, first half over 52.5. The one game I bet it, they don't do it. The next game, they come out, they score 60 something. So the reads haven't been wrong. It's just been a matter of teams actually getting it back under control. So here's what I have for today. I'm going to start with the MLB, and this is one of my top tier bets. This is something that I would definitely consider doing. This is one that I'm throwing on the card, and I'm putting it as one of my top 5 out of the 10. Like I said, 2 tiers today. This bet here is the over in the Colorado Rockies Arizona Diamondbacks game. It's currently at 9.5 runs, a lot of runs, no denying it. But we got John Gray going against Robbie Ray. And the last time, well, first of all, anytime that 2 starting pitchers' names rhyme, always take the over. That's just a rule of thumb. But also, if you look at Robbie Ray, the last time he took on the Rockies, he gave up 6 runs in 3.2 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, walked 3, struck out 6. So he does get strikeouts. Even against the Giants in his last game, though, 8 strikeouts, still gave up 4 earned and 7 hits, 2 home runs. He gives up the long ball against the Astros. He gave up 3 home runs. This guy's ERA is up around, it's 8.33 through 27 innings. He's given up 25 runs. I like the Rockies, who have already kind of gotten a look at him, to keep that going and be able to score on him. And then we have John Gray, who I was on the over in the last time he played too. The Dodgers did their part. They got 4. The Rockies just unfortunately could not get a hit. I needed 1 more run in that game too. So at least on our overs, we've been off by just half a run every time. I'm looking at John Gray, though. The last time he played the Diamondbacks, he gave up 8 earned runs. So the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are going against pitchers that they see really, really well. And therefore, I like that to continue. Look, even if this game does not go perfectly for the over, even if the pitchers get a little bit of an edge here on the hitters who are seeing the ball really, really well against them, I still like this game to go over 9.5. One of these pitchers is getting lit up. The other team's going to score some runs. I think this is a really good bet. My only MLB bet of the day, but I really love it. Colorado, Arizona, over 9.5 runs. Emmett from Boston. I love it. I feel like I'm on a radio show. Hope you're doing well. Hope we can win you some money today. All right. I'm going to go over to the NBA next. And the NBA, as far as I'm concerned, the Eastern Conference is the most boring thing in the world. Luckily, the second round matchups are going to be much, much better. The Heat versus Milwaukee is going to be a lot of fun. Raptors versus Celtics is obviously going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be one of the best series of the entire thing. The Western Conference, though, has been very, very enjoyable. Everybody who was on the Blazers to win the series, LOL, smiley face, JK, whatever you want to say. That was a joke of a bet. If you actually placed money on that, I'm sorry for you. Because if you watch their games, I was all over the Blazers. I got you plus 400 odds on them as the 8 seed, plus 120 odds as them to win over 3.5 games. I was feeling really, really good about the Blazers. But when you watch those playing games, they almost blew it against the Nets. They play no defense, and we are seeing that catch up with them. They got no Dame tonight. So anybody who had put the Blazers, I know a lot of sharps, and I'm using air quotes, a lot of sharps were out there saying Blazers in 6, Blazers in 6. Yeah, okay, clowns. Get out of here. Blazers ain't winning anything in 6. If you actually watch the games and didn't just look at the stat lines of Damian Lillard, you would know that they had no chance against this team. And hey, I told y'all that was going to happen, and if you've been following along on my website and you've been betting, looks like the only prop bet for series props I'm actually going to hit is the Lakers winning the series 4-1. Thunder still are alive to win the series 4-3. That's been a fun series, but that's just something to throw out there. So I'm going to start off with the first game of the day in the NBA, which is this Bucks Magic game. I'm going with the under of 227.5. This is another one that I am saying is one of my top 5 bets of the day. I got Milwaukee, Orlando under 227.5. This has been heartbreaking the last 2 times if you were on the under. Heartbreaking. I was on it 2 games ago. We had 4 threes in the last minute and a half of the game. I wasn't on it the last game. Steve Clifford tells his guys to foul with literally 20 seconds left, down 8, just to hit 2 free throws and hit the over by 0.5 points. It's been absolutely devastating if you've been on the under, and I'm still going to go with the under in this game. I feel like things are going to level out. In both of those last 2 games, the under was looking good the entire time, and then the fourth quarter got a little sloppy, especially, especially in the last game, 62 points in the fourth quarter. Had no business going over, and it goes over by half a point. You'd be feeling really, really good if you had taken that one. So I'm going to go with the under 227.5 here. And my reasoning for it is I do not believe that the Bucks are going to play very hard in the second half of this game. I think they're going to go out early. I think they're going to jump out to a big lead early on. I think they're going to put the Magic away. The Magic played them really tough last game. I don't see it happening again this game. And the Bucks are not playing any of their good players in the second half. When they were up big, when they pulled away last game, got up by like 15 going into the fourth quarter or something like that, they kept everybody in. They kept Giannis in. They kept Chris Middleton in. I don't see that happening in this game. I see them benching a lot of their good players, trying to get out to a really early lead early on. I'm tempted to take the Bucks -8 in the first half. I'm going to stay away from it ultimately just because I have a couple other things going on here. But just in case the Magic actually do not want to get eliminated. But either way, something's going to happen where the fourth quarter, the Bucks are not going to be playing very hard. And I like the Bucks here to win by a lot. Don't like the spread of 14 points, obviously. That's way too big. But I will say under 227.5 Bucks Magic. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put that one on the card. In this same game, we got Nikola Vucevic. Sorry, I cannot speak. It comes out too much. Too many people named Nikola right now. Jokic is what I wanted to say. But we have him going for over 23.5 in this game, and I love this bet. I think this is fantastic. Get in there on this player prop. This is a really good one. Over 23.5, another one that is definitely in my top 5 bets of the day. I think Vucevic is going to score 30. He has to. He doesn't have a choice. If they want to win this game, he has to score 30 points. That's what's been happening throughout this series. He scored, what were his stat lines? His stat lines are 35, 32, 20, 31. You're going to let me get it at 23.5? Absolutely. I'll take it every time. I don't see, I don't know. I don't see Giannis playing the entire game, which I think opens up the floor for him. I think he's going to hit some threes, maybe not as many as last game where he hit 6, but I do like him to get his game going and win some and score some points. Over 23.5. I love this number. I love this line. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put Nikola Vucevic over 23.5 on the card. I have other NBA bets, and now these go into my lower tier here. So this is in my second tier. Bets. If you're coming out today and you say I want to make 5 bets, these 5 bets, these next 5 I'm going to give you or these next 4 bets I'm going to give you are not in that grouping. This is kind of my second tier. I feel good about them. I'm playing the hot hand. I'm 7-1 in my last 2 days. Got a little bit of extra cash in the bankroll. Let's see what we can do here. Obviously, not making huge bets, just this would be smaller. If you're looking for those other bets, consider them 4% bets. Consider this one a 3% bet. If you follow that, a three unit, if it's easier for everybody there. I'm going to go to the Oklahoma City versus Rockets game. And this has been such a great series. It has been such a great series. The Thunder have been resurrected. They have come back from the dead, and they are somehow in this series. They've tied it up 2-2. It's been amazing to watch. It's been so much fun. Lou Dort, I love. Yesterday, Giannis got Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm fine with it. I get it. But Lou Dort is the best defensive player in basketball right now. If that guy starts knocking down shots, he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA because his defense on James Harden has changed the series single-handedly. Single-handedly, he has changed the series with his defense against James Harden, and it has been so much fun to watch. It's been a great series. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stay away from the over in this game, but I do have a couple player props that I really like. I'm also going to go with the Thunder at plus 3.5. I think 3.5 is a little too much right now. For this team, I think that if I was a betting man, I would say the Rockets are probably going to win this one. They're going to find a way, but I do think that Oklahoma City keeps it close because that seems to be what they do. I mean, they got punched in the face last game. Third quarter, Rockets start off 8 for 8 from 3 in the third quarter, go up by 15 points, and Oklahoma City took it. Didn't even take an 8 count. They just stood there. They took the punches, and then they landed the haymaker at the end. I like Oklahoma City plus 3.5 here. I like what they're doing. I like the changes they've made. They could still lose the game, but in a game that they could reasonably win, this is always my motto, in a game that a team could reasonably win, if I'm getting that at more than one possession, I'm going to take it every time. Oklahoma City plus 3.5 going on the card. In this game, there's two player props that I think are really interesting, worth taking a look at. Chris Paul over 20.5. Chris Paul has been the difference maker offensively in this series for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, defensively, it's been all about Lou Dort. But in the last two games where they have won, Chris Paul has gone for 26 points in both games. His over-under is set at 20.5. I'm taking the over. And now here's something that everybody needs to understand. I'm taking a lot of overs with player props. Generally, if I don't like an over, I just don't bet it. I don't bet the under for player props because a player can go off. I mean, look at what Jokic did yesterday. 21 points in the first quarter. It was absolutely unbelievable to watch. So in a situation like this, I sit down, I look at the lines. If I don't like a number, I just don't bet it. But if I like it and I think they can go over it, as I did yesterday on my website with both Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray went over it by like 20 points almost. I like to take the overs. It's more fun to watch a game that way. And look, but like I said, just because I'm talking about the overs, pretty much any bet I'm not making, I essentially like the under for that player or don't like the over all that much. Chris Paul over 20.5. I like him to get that done. What we saw in the last game and what I think is going to be interesting to watch in this game is that when the Thunder do start to fall behind, which they will, there will be a point in this game where the Thunder are starting to lose a little bit of ground. The way they stay in the game is they wait for the Rockets to go cold and Chris Paul knocks down mid-range jumpers. And it's an easy way to just stay in the game, stay close, keep everything relevantly possible. And Chris Paul is that guy. So I like Chris Paul going over 20.5 here. And then I'm going to go to the other side, and we got PJ Tucker over 7.5 points at plus 100. Mini dog here. I like this bet a lot. And the reason why I like PJ Tucker so much is he's just the pocket three man. He hasn't been hitting all that many of his threes this series. He's been a little bit cold, and he's still going over 7.5 pretty much every time. In the first game, he went for 11, game 2, 14, game 3, only 5, and then game 4, he goes for 11 points. 3 of 8 from 3 in the last game. He was 4 of 4 in game 2, 3 of 8 in game 1, only 1 of 5 in game 3 when he went under. He hits 2 threes in this game, which he's going to take at least 4. He has taken at least 4 every game in this series. He's going to take at least 4. If he just hits 2, we're at 6 points. He's going to drive one time, go over. I really like this number. He's only gone under it once the entire series. He's a player who's going to put up shots. Houston's going to need to find other offense other than Harden. They need to find other players to step up. I think PJ Tucker could be that guy. And at a number as low as 7.5, when he has gone over that number by at least 3 points in 3 of the 4 games in this series, you got to take it every time, especially when you're getting plus money. So PJ Tucker over 7.5 at plus 100 is another bet I'm putting on the card. So busy game in Oklahoma City, Houston. Chris Paul over 20.5, OKC plus 3.5, PJ Tucker over 7.5 at plus 100. Going on to the last game of the day, and I do feel bad for the Blazers because the Blazers won us all a lot of money, and the Blazers were a lot of fun to watch. Really exciting basketball team, but they are just not good defensively, and unfortunately, they don't have the depth to compete with the Los Angeles Lakers. The thing that people don't remember is that the Lakers were literally playing for nothing. They were playing for nothing in the seeding games. So they weren't ready to go for that first game of the series. Look at how they've looked since. It hasn't even been close. Game 3 was a little close. Game 2 and Game 4 were jokes. And they're going to blow them out of the water again today. Numbers all the way up at 13.5. Not sure how I feel about that. The Blazers have enough talent and a lot of pride that I think they could keep this one close. But the Lakers are also insanely good. This has backdoor cover written all over it. Backdoor cover written all over it because the Lakers, if they go up by 25 points going into the 4th, they're going to bench all of their starters, get ready for the next round where they don't know who they're playing yet, but they're going to get ready to play for the next round. And the Blazers are going to come back because their players are going to score late. So this has backdoor cover written all over it. So I'm going to avoid the spread. I'm going to avoid the total over because the Lakers could win this 103-80. They could also win this 146-110. I don't know what it's going to be. I just know the Los Angeles Lakers are going to win. Dame not being there, it sucks. It's a shame. It's bad for basketball when Damian Lillard can't play. I feel bad for the guy. He was great in the seeding games, wins MVP of the seeding games. A lot of fun. Portland Trail Blazers, start placing your future bets on them now because they get one more piece. They get a little bit more depth. That's a team that could absolutely win an NBA title or at least the Western Conference next year. So get your futures bets in as soon as you possibly can on that. Where am I going with this game? All right. I'm going with who's going to score for the Portland Trailblazers. That's my biggest question. I'm staying away from all of the Los Angeles Lakers players, and my reason is I don't know how many minutes they're going to play. I don't know how long they're going to play. I'm a little worried about all of that. I'm kind of concerned that they go up really big early and just not play anybody the second half. AD's already a little tweaked right now. He might not want to play the whole game. His over-under's at 27.5. That feels high. I'd probably take the under there, but like I said, I kind of just like to bet the overs on player props. If I don't like the over, I just don't bet it. LeBron's at 27.5. I can't figure out where this is going to go. But the Blazers, who's going to score? CJ McCollum's at 26.5. That feels like a big number. That feels like a really big number. Yusef Nurkic is at 17.5. That also feels like a pretty big number. I mean, especially considering what's been going on with him. I'm going to go with Melo, and he's at 17.5 as well. But I'm going to go with him. He had 20 in game 3, 16 in game 4. 16 in game 4 came in just 29 minutes. But I like him to go over 17.5 because I think he's going to step up. You got to remember, Melo is a superstar. You know, even though he's on the back end of his career, he was a superstar for a long time. He was the guy in New York for a while. So I like Melo to come out and put up 20 in this game. So getting it 2.5 points below that makes me feel really good. I'm feeling really confident in this Carmelo Anthony to pick up the slack for the Blazers and keep them close when they need clutch points. CJ McCollum's probably going to score more than Melo, but his number at 26.5 is just too high, especially when now the Lakers don't have to worry about guarding all of the guards. They just have to guard CJ McCollum. So those are my NBA bets. And just to give you a reminder, I said I had 2 tiers of bets today. One tier is the Milwaukee Orlando under 227.5, Vucevic over 23.5, and in the MLB Colorado Arizona over 9.5. And then my next tier is Chris Paul over 20.5, OKC plus 3.5, PJ Tucker over 7.5, though PJ Tucker is really close to being in that top tier, and Melo over 17.5. And actually the Melo one is my other one that is in my top 5 bets of the day. I wrote it all in the same color, which is dumb. Don't do that. All right, now I'm going to go over to the NHL. I got 3 bets in the NHL, and zero of them are in this Islanders-Flyers game. I do not like this game. I was pretty good with the NHL yesterday, and by pretty good, I mean I went 2-0 in the NHL yesterday. I had the Lightning winning; they win 4-3. I had the over in the Vancouver game. I had talked about how Vancouver is an incredibly resilient team. They're going to come back. They're gonna put up a fight against Vegas. That 5-0 game one means nothing. Roussel versus Reeves is going to be the most fun thing ever as that series goes on. I love things like that. I love when hockey players want to beat the crap out of each other. It's so much fun. Ryan Reeves is a beast. He is so big and so scary, and I love how he just like pushes people to the side. He is the definition of an enforcer, and I love it. So, but that game isn't today. That game is tomorrow, so I don't have to talk about that. Series is tied 1-1. First game of the day, Islanders versus Flyers. I don't know what to do with this game. The Islanders are so much better than the Flyers, and I've been saying a lot. People ask me, like, who do you think is going to win the Eastern Conference? I did an article for bettingpros.com. If you want to go check that out, you can find me over there, bettingpros.com, author Phil Wood. I did an article for their Western Conference and Eastern Conference NHL futures. And my two long shot pits were the Islanders and the Canucks. And I still think the Islanders and the Canucks have a very good chance of playing each other in the Stanley Cup, especially the Islanders. The Flyers don't scare me at all, and I'm a Flyers fan. That sucks. It sucks when your team's the 1 seed and they don't scare you. The Bruins and the Lightning, I think they're going to beat each other up so bad. They're both very resilient teams, but I think the Islanders are better than both of them right now. I really do. I think they're playing the best hockey. However, you're looking at a game 2 for a Flyers team that isn't bad, and they are also a resilient bunch. To just straight up go, I'm going to take the Islanders, this game feels lazy. It feels like a guessing bet. So I'm going to stay away from this one entirely. Over-unders at 5. I'm scared of unders right now. I'm really, really scared of unders right now because people are pulling their goalies with 8 minutes left. We saw the Flyers do that in game 1. We saw the Knights pull their goalie with like 3.5 minutes left yesterday, and then we got 2 goals after that, which was great for the over, but I'm scared to take unders. I think this game probably goes under. Both teams are really good on the defensive end. Carter Hart has a way of always playing better after having a bad game, so he's probably going to have a good game tonight for the Flyers. However, I don't like it. Pulling goalies way too early. I'm going to stay away. Going on to the next game, Tampa Bay Lightning versus Boston Bruins. This was a great game yesterday. I hope everybody got to watch game 2 of this series where the Lightning tied it up, and the Lightning were the better team the entire game. They should have been winning the entire game. Unlucky broken stick early, which ended up leading to a Bruins goal. They scored, had it called back because one of their guys didn't hustle off. It was literally by a centimeter that he didn't get back on side. Goal gets called back, and the Lightning still win the game 4-3 in overtime. I like the Lightning here. I think because there's not a day in between, that the Lightning are going to be able to come out and win this game because they're going to play with the same intensity they played with yesterday and realize we can take a 2-1 series lead on this Bruins team. The Bruins aren't going to have enough time to adjust to what happened yesterday. And the Lightning now for 4 straight periods have looked like the better team than the Boston Bruins. So I like the Tampa Bay Lightning to come out, win this game. It's not one of my top 5 bets of the day, but it's right in that next tier. 3% bet, as I would say, 3-unit bet. So I like them. They're at -103, pretty much +100. So you're getting a little bit of a dog here. But I like them to win this game and take a 2-1 series lead over the Boston Bruins. Last game of the day, Colorado Avalanche taking on the Dallas Stars. This series has sucked. If you follow me on betonphilwood.com, the Avalanche were my Stanley Cup pick, but Philip Grubauer going down has changed everything. The Francois, I forget how you pronounce his last name. I feel like they say it differently every time on TV. And also I feel like it's one of those names where every single letter is pronounced, even though it doesn't seem like it should be. He's not that good of a goalkeeper. He's just not. He gives up a lot of sloppy rebounds. He doesn't really stop the Stars. He gave up 4 goals in 1 period last game. He does not look good. But the Avalanche have too much talent to not win. They came out hot in game 2, took a 1-0 lead, took a 2-0 lead in the second period. And I like them here to win period 1. I think it's a great bet. One of my favorites of the day. Pretty much my favorite bet of the day. If I had to say, like, what's your best bet? The Avalanche to win period 1 in a 2-way thing. So if they don't win it and they tie, it's a push. If they lose, obviously you lose. But if they win, you win. So I love them to come out firing. They have so much talent on the offensive end with Kadri and Nathan McKinnon. There's no way they're not scoring in this game. I also like the Colorado Avalanche over 3 goals in this game. It's at -110, so it's really what Vegas is expecting. But what we've also seen is when these desperate teams come out in this bubble and they win, they're not just winning, they're decimating the other team. The Canucks put up 5 yesterday on the Vegas Golden Knights, win at 5-2. We see the Lightning put up 4. And I know they only won 4-3, but the Lightning only win by 1 goal. So that's whatever. We saw the Montreal Canadiens do it to the Flyers when the Flyers were up 2-0. Or I guess that series was 1-0, but we see them come out and we see them, put up a 5 spot on Carter Hart. I really like Colorado to put up a lot of goals in this game. They have a lot of anger in them. They have been putting shots on net. Hudobin has been great, which is also very frustrating for the Avalanche, but Hudobin's also been inconsistent throughout the bubble. Right now, the Avalanche haven't figured him out, but we saw some games where the Calgary Flames absolutely unloaded on him. I like the Avalanche to unload on him in this game. They need it. They know they need it. They're down 2-0 in the series. Defensively, they're not good enough to just score 1 or 2 goals and win the game. They got to score a lot. They know they have to, and they have the offensive firepower to do it. So I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche over 3 goals and them to win the first period and put both of them on the card. Busy card again. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to read it through, and I'm going to read off my top 5 bets first, and then I'm going to read off that next tier, what I would call my 3% bets next. So top 5 first, my only MLB bet of the day, Colorado Rockies versus Arizona Diamondbacks over 9.5 runs. Going to the NBA, Milwaukee Bucks, Orlando Magic under 227.5, Vucevic over 23.5, Melo over 17.5, NHL Avs to win the first period at -130, and then them to score over 3 goals in the game. My next tier of bets, Chris Paul over 20.5, OKC plus 3.5, PJ Tucker over 7.5 at an absolute steal of +100, and the Tampa Bay Lightning at +100 to win the game over the Boston Bruins. That's what I got for you today on the card. I don't think I'll be doing a live show tomorrow. I'll have to talk to Russell and see what he wants to do. Not sure yet if I'll be doing a live show. Maybe I'll go 0-10 and then I really won't want to do a live show, but we've been hot. And I think these bets today are really good bets. I'm really excited about today's slate. I think it's going to be a fun slate. A lot of things getting wrapped up. So not sure if I'll be live again tomorrow, especially with a shorter slate of, no, the NBA is good tomorrow. It's Friday, where right now the only game on the schedule is the Rockets and the Thunder. It's because the Lakers are going to win today, and that's going to end that series. So, and the Bucks as well. So that's what I got for today. Follow me on Twitter at Phil Wood Jr. If you want to reach out to me, DM me, feel free to. A lot of people already have. People have been talking to me. I've won some parlays for some people. We've been having some good times. So reach out to me there. Follow me, betonphilwood.com. I do my daily bets. 7-1 in my last 8 was 58-42 through my first 100 bets. Give you series props and give you series winners for every single series of the NHL and NBA playoffs. It's been a lot of fun so far. Was 7-1 in the first round of the NHL playoffs, 3-5 in props, including a +525 winner for the Dallas Stars to win the series 4-2. Had the Canucks, had the Islanders. Fun times. All right, that's all I got for you. I'll see you next time on the card.